Tennessee, it was not its night, falling to 27-13. Between the hedges down here at Georgia in the Top 3 Showdown, I'm Eric Cain, Austin Price here on the Bulk West Mini Podcast, post-game mini podcast. Austin, it just seemed like Tennessee, it buried itself in a hole early on. It got that quick field goal, but from then on, Georgia kind of ran the show, and Tennessee struggled to protect Hendon Hooker. Tennessee struggled to push the ball down the field. Tennessee struggled defensively to limit the big plays or get pressure on Stetson Bennett. It started raining in the second half. That was kind of fitting because, it was 24-6 or whatever it was by halftime. Just not the Volunteers' nights in a game where everybody was watching.
No, you're right, and sometimes it's just not. They kind of fell behind, the 8-ball early. Before the game, another media guy said, "How do you think this game's going to go?" And I said, I picked Tennessee, but I said, honestly, ask me after the first quarter. I said, because I think the first quarter, will tell kind of what's going to happen, because I thought, if Tennessee fell behind like they did, it was going to be hard on them. Now, a lot of people pick Tennessee all of game day outside of Luke Bryan and David Pollock. They don't count. The one guy played here and the other guy's a Georgia fan. Pick Tennessee. Everybody but Hubs picked Tennessee. And truth be known, he wanted to flip it at the last second, and I said, "No, you've got to roll the play," because he was picking against them the whole week.
He's got to play his role, yeah.
So my point is like it's not like this is some shock that Tennessee lost, but if you'd said, "Hey, Austin, they're going to get shellacked in Athens,"
yeah,
I would have told you 52-28. Not 27-13 and didn't score your first touchdown and only touchdown till 4 minutes to go. Like, that's what's so shocking to me is it's how it played out. It's not that they lost. It's definitely not that Georgia actually won it comfortably. It's that Tennessee had no effect on Georgia's defense offensively. They did better last year at Neyland with less talent and a lot less momentum than they did here tonight. Crowd part of it, I didn't think going in, I thought that left tackle spot with J.J. Crawford and Gerald Mincy would be really interesting to see how they handled the crowd. It wasn't just them, it was others. But Tennessee was clearly affected by the crowd. The crowd was loud. I said in the 2-minute drill, I've been down here every other year since 2004, which basically makes about 9 or 10 trips, I guess. I'm not counting them. Not quick enough math to figure out, how many trips I've actually been here, but that's the loudest I've heard it here, and comparable to all the other big ones in the league. So, kudos to their fans. They brought it, and the defense brought it. Georgia's offense, again, if you'd said Brock Bowers is, look at his stat line, you would have predicted Tennessee is going to.
Yeah.
Now again, they did, they held them to 27, and I know they kind of shut down a little bit in the second half and kind of went conservative, but Tennessee's always been able to stop the run pretty decent. Now, in the first half, they kind of gashed them for some big runs, but, again, kudos to, Tennessee for stepping through.
Tennessee did get shellacked, and the final score is going to say it lost by 2 touchdowns. There's a lot going on around us right now, so if you're listening, apologize.
Yeah, they're breaking down stuff.
Planes
going by.
We're next to an airport. Unfortunately, we're not getting on a plane when we leave here. That's going to suck. But Tennessee lost by 14 points, and in years past, Tennessee would have lost by 35 or 27 or whatever. And again, that's not moral victories or nothing. But the point of the matter is, it took till the last little bit of the fourth quarter for Tennessee to score a touchdown. And that's what shocks me the most. 61 yards of the 278 total Tennessee got on the day came in the last drive. And that's the shocking thing for me in this football game. And I don't think the moment was too big, Austin. I just think the crowd did play such a big factor. Couldn't hear yourself think. You and I were sitting next to each other. We couldn't hear each other talk. A lot of our fans at Tennessee that come on and contribute to the side and go to the games. They do the same thing in Neyland Stadium. It was a big-time factor, and Tennessee continued to false start. You couldn't hear Hendon Hooker. But when you can't hear your field general down there, what are you going to do? And that's a big reason why the struggles happened tonight.
Yeah, agreed. I continue to find Jalen Hyatt the most refreshing kid on this team. He just, he comes in there and he's like the crowd, kudos to them. He was very, very vocal about it. And, whereas like Hendon comes in and he's like, these hits felt the same as every week. I'm like, come on, man. You got battered and beat up tonight.
He was sacked 6 times.
Yeah, and hit several more. And, I did think he held on to the ball, and I'd have to go back and rewatch. I mean, when you're watching it in real time, you can't tell. Did he miss? Did he not throw him open? Did he just hold on to it too long, or was it truly nobody there?
I will say 2 of the balls down the field, and I'm not trying. As a quarterback, you got to hit your receiver. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but Brew McCoy was the one of them, Prince and Fan was the other. Those are some pretty good looking balls. Maybe if it was a Jalen Hyatt or maybe somebody else, maybe they would have converted. But point of the matter is, he's still missed some wide open guys a couple times tonight when it could have been big plays.
Yeah, they missed Hyatt on that deep ball in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, Tennessee just wasn't going to make enough big plays in this game. They weren't going to big play Georgia. Tennessee, anything they got, they had to scrap and claw and fight for. I mean, nothing came easy, nothing. And back to the drawing board. These next 3 are games if Tennessee comes in motivated, scores like they've been scoring, the other teams can't keep up with them. South Carolina can't score enough. Missouri can't score enough.
Yep.
Vanderbilt can't score enough. Now, as you pointed out, Missouri has been scrappy, but I mean, they lost to a Kentucky team that Tennessee just bludgeoned last week, right?
Missouri also beat Vanderbilt by 3 points.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think it would take something drastic for Tennessee to not win out and go 11-1, be sitting there waiting to see what happens at the college football playoff. We're sitting here as this game ends. Alabama's at halftime, trailing 7-6. Clemson's down 14-0 late in the second quarter to Notre Dame. I mean, things could still happen. Tennessee could slide in. Now, here's the interesting part. The college football playoffs never put a rematch in the semifinals. Would they do that? Because if Georgia wins out, they're probably won, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That means Tennessee does not have a rematch in the Peach Bowl. Would have to
jump somebody
and get to the 3. I mean, maybe that's possible. I mean, you got to think about if Clemson loses and TCU loses and Alabama's got a second loss and Michigan or Ohio State gets handled by the other.
No.
And I don't think Tennessee or I don't think the college football playoff would want any kind of rematch in the semifinals if you can avoid it. So. Again, Tennessee's got to take advantage of the next 3 first. They got to, win out, and then just kind of let the chips fall where they may. The point is, if you win out at worst, you're in the New Year's 6, likely New Orleans at 11-1, and Tennessee fans having not won more than 8 games in a regular season since Philip Fulmer won 10 in 2007 and went to Atlanta, should be ecstatic with that. But I get. They came into this game with all this momentum. They're number 1 in the college football playoff. First time they've been relevant in so long. And to fall flat, to lose the way they did. I thought the play calling today, I did not think, the offensive side had their best day. You mentioned to me in the press box, very odd, strange calls. Some the delay on a 3rd and 1. Just, especially when Georgia was having so much success, kind of blowing up that interior of the offensive line. Just doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. I mean, any way you spin it, it's a tough loss. And again, I'm not into moral victories. I'm not trying to preach this. We spoke on the 2-minute drill. You still have a chance. You're going to be, as you pointed out, you're going to be sitting around there towards the end of the season saying, all right, this domino piece here. You're not going to play in Atlanta most likely unless the wheels fall off with Georgia.
How many times in sport, since NFL went to wild cards and Major League Baseball went to wild cards, have those teams been the hot team, got in?
Yeah.
The
Atlanta Braves last year.
And do something. And do something with it. Look at the Phillies this year, 100%. No matter whether they can come back and win or not. You just want that opportunity. You want to be in the tournament, right? And so, again, win the next 3, take care of business, and then let the chips fall where they may. And at worst case scenario, again, you're in a New Year's 6 game playing a team that you should be able to, have success against in the Sugar Bowl. Remember, Tennessee's not been to the Sugar Bowl since 1991.
Yeah.
I was 8. You were negative something. Even Hubbs was young. He had no gray hair the last time Tennessee played in the Sugar Bowl. So.
He had 2 good hips.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Rob was still drinking coffee at 15 years old.
All right, Tennessee falls tonight between the hedges here in Georgia. Final score 27-13. Sometimes, as Josh Heupel says post-game, hey, it's football. It happens. Tennessee could rebound and potentially just have one loss here in the regular season. We'll see what happens. We're going to have plenty of continual coverage. Got tons on the front page right now. Got tons over at YouTube as well. Tons on the board of the general quarters. Check it all out. We'll have tons tomorrow. Brent Hubbs and I will both have our review pieces. We'll be live on the Rocky Top Rewind tomorrow night, so stay tuned. All that and more coming up at VolQuest.com. For the final time here at Sanford Field, Tennessee 13, Georgia 27. And these two teams potentially can meet later on the season. We'll have to find out, but more coverage over at VolQuest.com.